setting for this is going to be, we're going to be in a pasture, okay? And what I've tried, and by the way, if you guys want to come all around here, I'm going to be down here doing stuff if you want to see. But what I'm trying to illustrate here is being in a pasture. We've got tall grass prairie, maybe that's a hillside, and this is a bottom, and this is a tire track. That's a trail road, okay? And when you're looking, I trap almost exclusively trail roads for coyotes. So when you come into a pasture or something, it could be a field edge, it could be an alfalfa field next to a creek, that could be all timber, it could be a full section pasture. But you gotta find where coyotes are gonna hunt, and they're gonna run up and down those roads every night with their nose in the wind, looking for a prairie chicken hiding in that clump of grass right there. So when you get to your spot, you've looked at your maps, you went and got permission, you get there, and it's time to start looking exactly where to put this trap. The first thing you do is you start running those trail roads, and you run them until you find tracks, and the number one thing you look for is coyote scat, and that is coyote scat right there. And when you find coyote scat in the road, you pull over and you set a trap. Now, there's some danger in doing that. Trapping trail roads. You see that? How smashed that is? So, but I do it anyway, because you catch way more coyotes on them trail roads than off the trail roads.
When you're describing a trail road, that's just like a pasture?
A pasture where the rancher goes in there and he drives to the stock tank, go check the cows, go feed the cows.
The tire tracks.
Tire tracks, yeah. This is one track of a trail road.
Somewhere they've consistently gone makes a
Bare dirt in the middle of a tire track is best.
bare dirt.
You start digging up a ton of grassy stuff and it looks unnatural. It might be a long time before that set gets worked until they get used to it. Coyotes are scared of their own shadow. They're scared of everything. And when you splash, so you get out into like some really green stuff and you start digging up and there's all this black fresh dirt everywhere, they're going to think that's weird, and they're not going to want to come around and look at that might take them 2 weeks before they feel comfortable enough. They might be 5 foot from it, but they're not going to be 9 inches from it where you can catch them. So the sneakier and more natural your sets can get, the better. I want to talk real quick before I show you this set about scent control, and that's the number one thing why you're going to catch or not catch coyotes is your scent control. I wear knee pads to keep the smell of if I'm sweating or something, my knees, I don't want them touching the dirt. I wear just these cloth gloves. Once these traps have been dyed and waxed, they do not touch bare skin until the next spring. I do not touch these barehanded. So this is just general stuff that you'll want if you start trapping. It's all basic stuff, but it's important. Is a dirt sifter. This is my anchor driver that I make these earth anchors at home. They slide right down in here. You pound them into the ground. Stays in the ground, and then that's your stake right there. Got heavy hammer with a little chopping end here. It's really nice for frozen ground. You can get in there and get a trap bed dug out really quick. And when it's 84 degrees outside and you don't need that, you can just use a regular shovel like this when everything's all soft and dry. Whisk broom to brush over your trap, kick little pieces of stuff out, and blend it back in, make it look like it's been there a week even though it's been there 5 minutes. I use stuff called polyfill. It's what they make your pillows out of. And it goes underneath the pan of the trap. Polyfill, just like that. It keeps dirt from getting underneath the pan. Dirt gets underneath your pan. Coyote comes and steps on it. The pan won't compress. The trap won't fire. Some guys use big pan covers like that wire mesh stuff in your windows. But if you start messing around with big pan covers, I mean, pretend this is coyote's paw. Pan covers make this whole inside area hot. So anywhere they step in there, probably fire the trap. So you might catch him by a toe up here in the corner of this, like that, and he'll be gone. So when a coyote steps on a trap pan with polyfill under it, he's right there every single time. And that's really important if you're using a small series trap, use polyfill, because his paw will be right down there every single time. All right, so we got to the pasture, we found the scat, we found tracks coming and going, so we're gonna put a set right here. We're not gonna find coyote scat and put a set over here. He was there, a coyote made that, so why not set right there where he was? So this is the part where anyone who's interested can come around here and look at this.
So they have a particular place that they drop that?
You'll find that where you find one pile of scat, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna find 2.
So they're not like us where we just go wherever we need to. They save it, they put it in for a reason.
The reason coyotes poop where they do is all for territory.
Okay.
They have a territorial boundary in this region of Kansas is something like every square mile and a half.
Okay.
And there could be 2 to 4 coyotes in that mile and a half piece. So, but no, they will go wherever they need to, but when they're out at night, they mark their boundary is what they're
So I
doing.
see it in the gravel roads, like our county line roads. I see it in that a lot.
Home range boundaries.
It's marking their
Those are
boundary.
home range boundaries.
Okay.
All right. When I'm talking about setting a trap on the trail road, I am completely serious about setting it on the trail road. I mean in the tire track. If the trail road is frequented by a rancher who's going to drive it every day, I will go off a couple foot and just hope that he doesn't be staring at his phone and go off and run over my trap for no reason. So, but this time we're going to set it right in the middle of the tire track. You want to be able to run these coyotes over with your pickup in the morning when you go to check your traps. So we get here, where's the scat? It's right there. A big thing before you make your set is to look. All this stuff behind where I'm going to put the trap, this is called backing. That's called backing. This rock is backing. This twig is backing. And that's too much for a coyote. Where I set my trap is I'll dig a hole right here. This is called a dirt hole set. It's pretty loose soil, so that's going to be our hole. And I'll take this big piece of stuff, and I will get rid of it. I don't want it there. I want low backing. Sometimes all my backing is a little tuft of grass like that. So you've got your dirt hole dug, and that's where you're going to put your bait and your lure. You're going to take all this other stuff and just get it out of here. The backing that I want to keep them from working that hole on the back side of my set is that stuff right there, that tall grass. They're not going to go back there to dig. It's easy to walk on this stuff. Why would they circle around back there? Okay, so here's the most critical part of setting a trap for not just for coyote, but for bobcat, fox, coon. The way that I set this trap, my trap spacing is 9 inches back from the lip of this hole. Come back 9 inches to the center of my pan, and to a side, left or the right, 3 inches every time. I never put a trap straight on, ever. And that was a lesson taught to me by when I very first started using leg holds. I was using these right here. And I had a coyote come every morning. I dug a hole big enough to put a beach ball in, and I threw an entire muskrat down in that hole. And this coyote came in, seemed like every day, and stole my bait and ran off. My trap would be flipped or it'd be nothing there. So then one day I went there and I looked at it. My trap was, I don't know, 15 inches back from my hole. And I stopped and I looked at this coyote's tracks. And I watched where this coyote came in at a 45-degree angle, all the way in, and I literally measured where his last footprint was. And I uncovered my trap, and I set it where his footprint was. And I had him the very next morning. That's how I figured that out. And I've done it ever since. So now that we've got the dirt hole dug, we got coyote scat right here, we're gonna set this trap. So we've set the trap, dig your trap bed. The way I measure my trap spacing, the distance between my pinky finger and the tip of my thumb is exactly 9 inches. So I just put my thumb or my pinky right on the lip of the hole, and I come back 9 inches, and then I go over to where I think 3 inches is. So we've got the bed of the trap is dug, the trap bed is dug in a V or almost a bowl type shape. And that helps you be able to bed the trap solid. Because my chain and all that stuff, I pounded in and is right in the bottom of my trap bed. So then what I'll do, we're gonna pretend that that's buried and pound it into the ground. I'll take my trap and corkscrew it in. You corkscrew that trap in. This is where you're gonna catch or you're gonna miss fur, is bedding the trap. You don't want anything to move. And by digging the trap bed in like a bowl or a V, you can screw that trap in there, and the trap jaws and the levers are resting on the rim of that bowl. And it already makes it solid. And this is loose stuff. So screw that thing in there tight. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take, if it's dry, if we've got dry stuff like this that we're working with, we'll just take the dirt we dug out, put in our sifter, put it right back over the top of that trap. But you're never going to trap very long in good weather. It's going to rain, it's going to freeze. So I make waxed dirt. I literally heat up dirt, sift it, and I mix it with melted trapper's wax. And it makes a waterproof product that you could put it there today and it'll still be there in March. So, but this is dry. So we're going to cover the trap. Take your broom, sweep things around, steal some of that. Then you pack the outside portion of the jaws, right outside the jaws. Pack it hard. Don't want anything to move. And we're just going to pretend that that's not here. Pack it hard. Nothing moves. If you do that, that's harder than the coyote's going to step. And nothing moves. So we're fine. Now, get rid of this stuff. And we're going to get some more. We're going to expose the pan of the trap. Expose the pan of that trap. Once you do that, we're going to put our hands in this type of shape and press down. And we're going to pack the inside of the jaws. And we're going to leave this high right here. This is important. This is kind of like funneling. You don't want to do any, you don't want to put like a big rock right here or a tall piece of stick, because the coyote's going to come outside of it and not inside. So let's get rid of that. We'll leave this little, everyone can see there's a little mound of dirt there. Smooth this out. Once we do that, then our final blending. then we're gonna find a piece of something. Pan my traps right here. The dog, where the dog is on a dog trap, is at the top of the trap. And I'm gonna put that right there. And I'm gonna bend it backwards. I'm gonna point it away from the trap. If you guys can notice this, there is a low spot where my pan is. That's the lowest spot in my set pattern. You do not want to take a coyote and make him work up into your set. Ever. Just doesn't work. But if you can get him on this trail, that looks like a pretty inviting spot. It's bare, there's nothing there. There's our scat. We can put a rock right there, but do not put a rock inside your jaws, because I've had this happen before. I've had a coyote step on my trap and a little tiny rock, I mean this big, kept my jaws open just enough where the coyote got away. So yeah, so get that out of there. And then if you got it available, which we do here, this is a trail road, there's a tire track here and a tire track here, we've got grass in here. And we'll scrape some of that up. We'll just go around like that, all around that pan. But be careful, don't get too big of pieces of stuff. Like this, that's too big. That is way too big. That has to be out of there. Too big, too big, too big. So we've got a blended trap, blended set, a finished set. Now it's time for bait and lure application. Take off these gloves. You got to keep the clean stuff with the clean stuff and the smelly stuff with the smelly stuff. Because if I go and reach in my lure bucket with these, I take them off and I stick them back in here, I just ruin that for the whole year. Rubber gloves, and I'll take coyote urine, okay? I'll put it right on that scat. Doesn't take a lot. Then I'll take some bait. I'll scoop some of this out, and I'll shove it down in that hole. That hole should be at least 6 inches deep. This is some kind of light stuff. Obviously, we brought it in here. So, for the sake of argument right now, that's going to be a 6-inch deep hole. And you shove that down in there. Pure, unwashed sheep's wool. Take some of that. We'll throw that in there. And we'll bury it too. We'll push it down in there all the way to the bottom. And you can see the theory behind this is not only does sheep wool have lanolin in it, which is coyotes love lanolin, bobcats love lanolin, but you can kind of see how that looks like maybe a little mouse went down there and died. So we've done that. Then we'll take lure, final thing, and we'll pour it down the hole. Maybe let some of it up there on the rim. Take these off. Put our gloves back on. And the whole key to this making a set for coyote is if it takes you 15 minutes to make that set, practice. Because the least amount of time that you can spend at a set, the more first night catches you'll have. So, and when you go to check your traps, obviously this isn't coon trapping. Coons don't care. They'll eat anything, and they don't care if they smell you or not. But if a coyote smells that you've been there, he's going to make a decision. Well, okay, I smell him. He's been here, but I know he's not here now, so maybe I'll work that set. Or he's going to smell where you spit or where sweat dripped off your forehead. He's going to say, I don't know about that. He might not come back for 5 days. So we've made that set, and that's a completed set. You guys can come up.